G'day guys and welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we're back for another tips video. The last time I did a tips video it would have been, I think, genuinely Gather Round. So it's been a while. It's been like what, 15, 16 weeks or so. A lot has changed since the last tipping video. However, we're back for round 21 tips. Just decided to get out the camera today and for this week, and film a bit of content because I want to get back into it a little bit. So yeah, today we're just going to be going through my round 21 tips and predictions for the season. Obviously, it's coming to the end of the year, and heaps of games, well, have a lot of meaning to them. And obviously the race to the top 8 is absolutely stacked at the moment, literally from 2nd all the way down to potentially 12th or 10th or so is really up for grabs. So every game has a big meaning behind it. So keen to get into the tips. If you guys do go on to enjoy today's video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and we'll get straight into it. So starting off on the Friday night, we have the Dogs and the D's. The D's, look, they're not in great form, are they? The Dogs are on an absolute roll at the moment as well. They've won their last 3. They knocked off Carlton at Marvel, Geelong at Geelong, and then Sydney at Sydney. Absolutely dismantled the Swans they did on the weekend. So they're in a really, really good patch of form, the Dogs, and they're sitting in 8th, and if they do get the win on the weekend, then they will jump up to 4th due to percentage. They'll overtake Carlton, Giants, Geelong, and Port. So a massive, massive game for the Dogs, and yeah, it will just be absolutely huge if they can get this one done against the D's as well, which they're in a bit of a struggle town at the moment with no Petrarca. Obviously, they lost him. They lost, yeah, Petrarca ages ago. Gone, was out against the Dockers. It was back on the weekend in the loss against the Giants, which I did tip the D's, and they just couldn't scrape home against the Giants in the end. But yeah, I think the Dogs will be absolutely way too strong for this matchup, and I reckon they'll get it done by 54 points. I feel like this is a massive game for the Dogs if they really want to shape up their run home for the season, and I think this is going to be a massive win for them, and they'll take home the 4 points with absolutely no worries at all. Also on the Friday night, we've got a couple games on the Friday. We have West Coast and Gold Coast at Optus Stadium. The Suns losing to Brisbane at their home deck over the weekend sees them in a really just struggling race to make the top 8 for their first time in history. Look, they were looking on track, but like they just couldn't win away from home, and well, they still haven't been able to win away from home, but now they can't even win at home. They've lost against Brisbane, so now I just don't think finals is really in the in the talks for Gold Coast, unfortunately. It was at the start of the year, they were looking alright, but then they were just too inconsistent with the wins. They couldn't pick up any wins away from home, so they just, yeah, I just don't think they'll be making finals from here. West Coast, though, they've been in some really poor form. On the weekend, though, against the Dockers, if you guys are new, I do go for the Dockers, as you can see behind me, and I was really nervous after that first half of footy. I had literally zero hope that we were going to win that game, and the Eagles were absolutely all over us. And that's why I'm going to be backing in the West Coast Eagles to get up against the Gold Coast at Optus Stadium. Due to the Suns' record away from home, I just don't think they're going to get this one done. And due to, well, the really good signs that West Coast bought in the first half of the Derby on the weekend, I feel like they're going to actually get up against the Suns, which obviously Tipper's choice is 25% to 75%. So really against the Eagles here, but I feel like the Suns away from home are completely different. They're not too great. I feel like their season is a bit of a write-off now, and I don't think they'll beat West Coast in Perth. Moving on to the Saturday games, 1:45 PM, we have North taking on Richmond at Marvel Stadium. I'm going to straight up tip North in this one. Richmond haven't been looking too bad the last few weeks. They've actually been in the contest and then just, sort of scraping away. They got sort of dismantled against Collingwood on the weekend, but the Collingwood, well, that was a much needed win. Obviously, they were going to win that. And then, look, they were really in it against Port as well in Adelaide until the last term. Port just ran away with it. So, but North have also been showing some really positive signs. It's 17th v 18th here on the ladder. It's a bit of a dead rubber game, but I think the Roos should get up, especially, well, being at Marvel. I feel like they've played some good footy there this year, North, and they're looking not too bad in terms of form. So I'm going to pick North against the Tigers. Geelong take on the Crows at ģᴇᴏᴍᴇ Stadium, 4:35 PM. 97% of tippers have backed in the home side in the Cats to get up against the Crows, and I will be joining that 97%. I reckon the Cats should easily get up at home. smashed North over the weekend in Hobart, which sets up their run home pretty well. A 40-point win for the Cats, but then prior to that, they got smashed by the Dogs at ģērbja, but I just don't really see Adelaide getting up here at all. Let's be completely honest. Geelong at home are going to beat Adelaide. Adelaide are not looking too great at the minute. You know, they're just stealing wins here. Like, they stole the win against Essendon and, you know, a few wins here and there, but they're nothing special, and I think the Cats should get up, especially on their home turf, shaping up to the final series. The Cats should get this one done. I'll be backing in the Cats. This is an absolutely huge clash between the Pies and the Blues. MCG, Saturday night footy, Pendle's 400th game. Absolutely incredible. 23% of people have tipped the Pies, 77% have tipped Carlton. This is a really, really interesting game. The Pies finally got a win on the board over the weekend, although it was just to Richmond. However, Carlton, shaky form. Really shaky form over the last month or so for the Blues, and they're not coming into this game with huge confidence, I would say. I'm tipping Collingwood to get this one done. They always seem to beat the Blues, no matter what. I know they didn't last year, but earlier this year they weren't favourites coming into the game, and they still won by 6 points. They had heaps of outs, and they still got up against the Blues. I reckon the Pies will run away with this in a close game. I'm going to tip Collingwood by 5 points, and I feel like it'll be an absolute blockbuster game. But just the Pies, there's just something about the Pies always against the Blues. They just always get up. So I'm tipping Collingwood in this one, and I'm pretty confident that they're going to get up as well. Last game on the Saturday, it's also a 7:30 PM start at Adelaide Oval. It is Port and Sydney. Massive game for both sides here. Port needing to win to stay in the talks of the top 8, and Sydney needing to win just to sort of steady the ship a little bit. They've been a bit shaky as of late. 4 out of their last 5 games have been losses. So, and their only win in that 5 games was against North at home. So, bit shaky for the Swans, you know, the last month and a bit. However, they're at Adelaide Oval, and I don't think they'll be dropping this game, the Swans. I think they'll get their streak back on track, and Port at home have been a little bit inconsistent this year. They got absolutely smashed by Brisbane, and they absolutely smashed the Dogs. It's just so hard to tip this year's game of footy, because you just really don't know who's going to get up. But I'm going to tip the Swans to get up. I still don't think that they're done just yet. And if they lose this, then first position could be up for a few teams, and Freo could be in the talks of finishing minor premiers. Who would have thought? Brisbane, Freo, Carlton, all those teams could be in the talks of finishing first if the Swans get done by Port on the Saturday night. But I'm tipping the Swans. I reckon they'll get up. I reckon they'll steady the ship a little bit, and they'll keep that little bit of breathing space in between first and second position on the ladder. Sunday footy, 1:10 PM at Manuka Oval. We have the Giants taking on the Hawks. The Hawks are on an absolute roll at the moment. I think out of their last 12 games, they've only lost 2. So last 12 weeks, they're 10-2. Their record is absolutely unbelievable. Giants nearly lost to the D's at the MCG. Giants don't like travelling down to the G too much. Their results there in the past have not been elite. However, they're at Manuka Oval. They've only played a couple games at Manuka this year, both being wins. They smashed Brisbane, but the last time they played there was like round 6. It was like Anzac round, and they smashed Brisbane when Brisbane were out of form. So you really can't take the venue into much account. I'm going to back in the Hawks to get this one done. They're on an absolute roll at the moment. Only 25% of people have tipped Hawthorn due to the Giants' home game advantage. But there's something about the Hawks here, and I genuinely think they could roll the Giants at Manuka Oval. The Giants, they're looking good. They're looking strong. They've got a few wins on the board, and I'm not going to be surprised if they get up at Manuka. But I don't know, the Hawks, they have a great record against the Giants. I reckon they're going to be up. I reckon they're going to get up. It'll be a good game of footy for the Hawks. There's something about them. 3:20 PM on the Sunday, we have the Bombers taking on the Dockers at the MCG. I will be attending this game. 99% sure I'll be attending this game, and I'll be doing a matchday vlog. Finally, first matchday vlog of the season. How bloody good. The Dockers 3rd, Essendon 10th. It was like a month and a half ago they were sitting on 2nd on the ladder, the Bombers, and they've slidden all the way down to 10th. So their form is not great. They've just got absolutely rolled by the Saints at Marvel Stadium. 33% of people have tipped the Bombers, 67% have tipped the Dockers. I'm surprised the Dockers actually have the odds to get this one done, especially at the MCG. That's the only reason why am surprised that we have the odds coming into it. I know we're sitting third on the table, but to be completely honest, I'm not confident coming to this game. I reckon it's going to be a close game, and Essendon genuinely might get the edge. However, it's sort of grown on me not to tip against my own team, so I'll be backing in the Dockers, but I'm not confident. Looking at the first half of the Derby last week, it was just pathetic footy, and the Eagles were absolutely all over us. They should have had a massive lead at half time. I don't know how we were still in it, but then we absolutely dominated them in that second half. So it was just like our worst footy compared to our best footy in one game. It was a little bit hard to judge, but look, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if the Bombers got up by a small margin here, but I'm backing us in. The Bombers have been in terrible form lately, and sitting 10th on the ladder. It's a must-win to keep their season alive, the Bombers, so they could be coming out here and fighting for something, but the Dockers coming over from Perth, I'm going to back us in, and hopefully we can get it done. I reckon it'll be a really good game of footy. And to wrap up round 21, we have the Saints taking on the Lions at Marvel Stadium, 4:40 p.m. 92% of people have tipped the Lions. The Saints coming off an absolute thumping win against the Bombers, as we just did mention. However, Brisbane absolutely loved playing at Marvel last time they were there. They smashed the Dogs on the Friday night, and I'm tipping Brisbane. They are the real deal, and if they win this and the Swans lose to Port, then they are 2 points away from the minor Premier's position. So I reckon, yeah, well, Brisbane just love playing at Marvel. I reckon they're going to go down there, should I say, to Melbourne and just absolutely roll the Saints on their home turf. The Saints, though, they've been looking decent over the last few weeks, don't get me wrong, but a top side like Brisbane, who love going down to Marvel, I don't think Brizzy will drop this game, and, you know, they've won, what, 7 in a row, so I think that streak is going to continue. They're not going to lose a game to the Saints. And that's my round 21 tips. If you guys did enjoy this video and want some more tips predictions for the rest of the season, then let me know in the comments below. If you guys enjoy, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll see you all in the next video.